1887, Colonel Light first visits Gawler on his way to looking for a route to the River Murray. So it comes obviously straight up the edge of the foothills, more or less the line of Main North Road now, and out into the Barossa, through towards Nidlock and up to the Barossa Valley. And thinks, good place for a town here, obvious place, northern sort of exit further out of Adelaide. So 1839, the Gawler Special Survey, 4,000 acres of land, paid £1,250 at the time. Town block was one of those blocks, block 24, set up as a town, designed by Light and laid out by William Jacobs mostly, and the design very similar to the design in Adelaide in many ways because of the sort of more the North Adelaide than the Adelaide city area, but the parklands along the river and the town set up with roads set out on contours basically, not a sort of a grid pattern like in the city of Adelaide, but following contours, so Town Street and the other streets sort of following them. And basically then land was also set aside for police station, cemeteries and things like that, and schools. And the idea with private land development is to give land away to sort of major community organisations, the government or whatever, and that helps you sell your land because then you can get more money. So the Church Hill area got its name because there were churches everywhere here. We had, by 1922, we had 7 churches in the area, just in this upper area of the high area of Church Hill. So there were 2 congregational churches on near Light Square. There was the Presbyterian Church, Anglican, Catholic. There was a primitive Methodist church just on the corner of Dundas Street, and then the Lutheran Church came along much later in 1922. The police station and the Bushman Hotel, which are all part of the city, they all both started in 1842, and then housing from sort of mid-1840s in the area developed. So the really early development was mainly along Murray Street rather than here, but housing in this area by about 1860s. Most of this area that you can see around here was sort of built up with housing. Several small private schools, but also there was a St George's Anglican school across the tennis courts and a St Joseph Catholic school back down here. 1985, the Church Hill State Heritage Area was set up. This management plan was distributed to all the residents. Actually setting up the Heritage Agreement was pretty popular back in 85. And the management plan worked really well until it got forgotten about and council staff turnover and Heritage Area Agreement turnover. So we got involved in an issue in about 2013, I think. Submissions go in, that's not appropriate, it's not in the management plan or contrary to the management plan. Council staff said, what's this management plan you're talking about? So got to the point where council planners did not know that there was a management plan for Church Hill. The Planning Development Infrastructure Act, which was passed I think 2016. So one of the ideas was that for the different heritage areas, which there was about 17 or 19 by that time, there would be these documents called standards developed for each of the areas. Well, the only one that was developed by 2021, when the planning code was applied here, was for Colonel Light Gardens. So all the others got sort of, they got in some bloody kids to develop guidelines, and so they never consulted anybody, and these documents sort of magically sort of appeared. But they don't even really want to talk about them because they're not official. So, you can look at them, but they don't apply. So the other really amazing thing that's happened is this planning code, which is pretty much completely taken away. It's taken away all third-party community appeal rights in an area like Gawler. The only thing that it applies to is if someone wanted to put a rubbish dump here, then you have third-party appeal rights. Other than that, see you later. And for consultation and submission rights, they're exceptionally limited now. They're just trying to block people from being involved in the system. And the reason an area like Church Hill develops well is because the community looks after it and looks out for things. And most of the stuff-ups that have happened have been because of bureaucrats and planners doing things rather than the community doing the wrong thing, particularly people who knew what they were supposed to do. You have to be really rigid with your wording to say these are the rules, otherwise the planning system says, oh well, yes, they're the rules, but it complies with stormwater and paint colours and roof angles, so we don't care if it doesn't comply for subdivision. It is just it's a hard animal to nail down unless there are rules rather than guidelines. And now the system, because we're cut out of it, is pretty much only an argument between the developer and planners and state heritage. And they just keep bulldozing and pushing and shoving until they get something in line.